auto, handle my problems, I ain't ski.
Welcome back, Pacer Nation, Pacer Station fans everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Now today we got another game recap. Just beat the Lakers. Man, it's a real feel good energy going on in the Pacers world right now. Coach Jay, I know you watched the game today. A lot of people watched the game today. It was on national television, as a lot of us know, TNT. Tell me how you feel about the Pacers after this game, and what this win means for the team as a whole entering the rest of the season.
Yeah, today was probably the most impressive win they've had in months not because of who they were playing or, what the stats say, but because today they found a different way to win. Every other win they've had during this bubble run has occurred through a balanced offensive attack. So they've always when they beat so their first three wins of the bubble,
right?
Other than T.J. Warren, there really wasn't anybody scoring over 30 points,
right?
20 or 30 points. You had like 5 or 6 guys. In addition to T.J. Warren, you had 5 or 6 guys with 10 or 12 points. Right. My biggest concern coming into today's game was Oladipo and Brogdon, were they fresh enough and healthy enough to rise to the challenge playing against, I'm sure a lot of Bucks fans would disagree with me on this, but I still consider LeBron James the best player in the world.
Right.
But I wanted to see if Victor with all the layoff and Brogdon with all the layoff would rise to the challenge, because I figured T.J. Warren would bounce back, but I knew he needed help.
That's exactly what they did.
Malcolm Brogdon and Victor Oladipo both finished with 22 points each.
Yep.
And
had 24,
and Victor did it in a variety of ways tonight. I don't think he's quite back to where he was, but I would say during their last win against the Wizards, or was it the Wizards, or was that somebody else? Orlando. Yeah, the last one was against Orlando. Against Orlando, I felt like he was probably 65 or 70%. Today, I think he's up to 80. He was more confident. He was taking guys off the dribble, and he was, and he hit big free throws down the stretch. Now, right. I know we didn't get a chance to do the recap of the Suns, but for all the Pacer fans who are still worried about that loss can be attributed to one thing. And that was fatigue.
Right.
You got to remember, these guys haven't played competitive basketball up until recently for 4 months. That Suns game was on a back-to-back. And their bodies just were not capable of handling it. They weren't making solid passes. They weren't hitting shots. All their shots were short. And they just could not finish the play.
Absolutely.
And that's all fatigue. That's not on Nate. That's not on TJ. That's not on Victor. I knew they would bounce back today.
For sure. And like I said earlier, although the game was on TNT and such, I did not see the game. I only saw highlights after the game. Looking at the box score, though, I thought Davis had a quiet night, but this even shows more so that he had a quiet night. 3 for 14 from the field goal range and 8 points only. What do you think went into that tonight?
I don't think it was anything that Anthony Davis did. I don't think he had an off night. I think the Pacers were just I think Anthony Davis and LeBron came into this game thinking, and Dwight Howard too. I think the Laker front court came into this game thinking, we're gonna out rebound them by 60 because Sabonis isn't playing. I think the AD went into this game thinking, I'll be able to do anything I want in the paint because Sabonis isn't guarding me.
Right.
And what you saw tonight, Jakar Sampson had a couple of putbacks in the first half that show this perfectly. The Pacers just out-hustled and out-muscled the bigger Laker front court. They were tougher. I could see at early points in the first half the Laker front court guys, specifically Dwight Howard, were, bitching at the refs.
Right.
And they were complaining, hey, I'm getting fouled. Hey, he went over the back. No. The Pacers were out-muscling him. They were double-teaming AD on every possession. And what I found interesting was they did not double-team LeBron a single time. They played him head up. They rotated bodies on him, and it worked. They wore him down.
Right.
But the Pacers' Dan Burke's defensive game plan going into tonight's game was very simple. LeBron's going to beat us by himself. Nobody else is going to get involved. We're going to double-team Anthony Davis every time he gets the ball and make somebody else beat us.
Sure.
The second thing the Pacers did was they contested every passing lane. They had active hands. They were jumping passing lanes. And the Lakers just could not get any rhythm offensively tonight. And to me, that's what I was most impressed with.
Right.
Was not necessarily T.J. Warren's scoring and the offensive firepower that Brogdon and Oladipo brought. What I was most impressed with was how the Pacer defense completely took the Lakers out of their offense. They were making plays instead of running plays. And that team with all their shooters out, Avery Bradley, if the Lakers do not get some shooting back on their roster, specifically Danny Green, honestly, I don't think they're going to get out of the first round. I think, especially if they open up against somebody like Portland or Dallas, that are well coached and can put the ball in the basket,
100%.
I think Portland could beat them in the first round.
I completely agree.
If they're healthy.
I completely agree. And I think this game, after this game, I was very ecstatic. I'm very ecstatic about the Pacers moving forward. I think a big thing about this games like these, against big teams like the Lakers, being born in 2001 like myself, growing up in the digital age, as some will call it, I love seeing the Pacers get recognition. I'm someone that's always watching First Take, always watching Undisputed. And we don't get talked about a lot. Even after T.J. Warren's 53-point game, I didn't hear a lot of people talking about him. I think this was the real pop-out game for T.J. Warren, and a bigger introduction to him into the national spotlight. But we'll get to T.J. Warren in our next video we're gonna record that probably right after this. But yeah, the game as a whole, this was, I believe, Goga's second or third game back on the team. How do you think he's been playing with 3 for 4 field goals and 7 points in this game? How do you think he's been playing since he got back off the bench?
Well, I think his first game back, I honestly think he might have been the person who was the least tired on the roster last game because he hadn't played.
Right.
But tonight he showed a lot of he was particularly valuable defensively. He blocked LeBron at one point at the rim.
Yeah, I saw that.
He is just, he got a silly technical in the first half, but he was banging with Dwight Howard as a rookie.
Right.
You're allowed to get frustrated under those circumstances.
100%.
So, and personally, I thought the technical was cheap. I didn't think he was yelling at the refs or anything. I didn't think he said anything out of line. I think that was a high market call.
Absolutely.
But I also think that his stats did not demonstrate his value tonight. He was rebounding. He was attacking the glass. He was protecting the basket. He was doing Miles' job defensively when Miles was out of the game.
Absolutely.
And ultimately, I think he was the key to our bench's success at the defensive end.
For sure. And we're seeing with guys like Vic in the starting lineup. He's a guy who, of course, was an all-star, was our the player that a lot of fans want us to build around. How close do you think he is getting back to that Vic that we know and love on the court? 22 points tonight, 7 rebounds and 5 assists. A great game from him. Again, like you said, him and Brogdon complemented Warren, scoring beautifully, both scoring 22-plus points. What do you think is the difference between Vic right now and where he was in his prime here in Indiana?
Well, for starters, I think the difference is he's got more help around him. I don't think you'll ever see, as long as Kevin Pritchard keeps bringing in weapons like he brought in this summer, I don't think you're ever going to see Victor in a full 82-game season average over 20 points a game again. And it's not because he's not back in form. It's because he doesn't need to.
Right, he doesn't need to.
I think in the playoffs he'll step it up to 20 plus. But I mean, you saw the same. I mean, if Pacer fans will remember, you saw the same thing with Reggie Miller.
Right.
Early in his career, when he didn't have the horses around him, he didn't have the Dale Davises, the Rick Smiths, and the Mark Jacksons who could feed him the ball. I mean, I think Reggie's top scoring year was like 1991 or 1992. I think he averaged over 25 points a game.
Right.
And, but the team lost in the first round of the playoffs. I believe they were swept by the Boston Celtics that year.
Right.
Who were kind of at the end of their reign. So, I don't think you can judge a player's effectiveness by his stats. Personally, I would say Victor right now, I'd say he's probably, I would say he's at 80%. I don't think there's enough time left in the season, and playoffs included, for him to get back to full form as far as conditioning and confidence goes. I think you won't see – I don't think you'll see prime Victor until next season. But do I think he can average 18 to 20 points in the playoffs for us? Absolutely.
I completely agree.
Do I think he needs to every night? No.
Right. And like you said, I do think it will take an off season for Vic to get completely back to full shape. I know we basically just went through an off season, technically, some people feel like, but I feel like it will take until at least next year for Vic to get his legs under him completely and get back to even close to what he used to be athletically. I do think he's still playing well, and you still see him jumping out of the gym on some plays. You still see him stepping in passing lanes. You still see him scoring the ball, like we said, but it's just that extra twitch Vic used to have that I don't really see anymore. Which of course is kind of expected with the injury he had. He's not going to have that crazy spring he used to have. It felt like that he played with. But like you said, I do think next season we might see him closer to the old Vic form. And tonight shows that he still got it. He still got the scoring ability. He still got a lot of things that a lot of us still knew because of other games that he still had. But just further proof doing it against a team like LA. Even though LA, of course, is kind of going through a little funk right now. Some people think that's due to them sealing that first seed in the West. What do you think? Just branching off a little bit to LA right here. What do you think is the Lakers' problem entering the playoffs coming up?
Well, I think it all has to do with health. I can't stress enough how important Danny Green is to their offense.
Right.
Frank Vogel designed this offense around getting the ball to LeBron in space, creating gaps for LeBron to drive and pitch to the corner,
right?
Which is where he would normally find Avery Bradley, KCP, and Danny Green. The problem is all three of those guys are hurt now. KCP played in the first half, but on a drive to the rim, Miles Turner blocked his shot and he landed bad and was helped off the floor. I don't know how effective he's going to be next game. I don't know whether he's available or not, but if LeBron does not get some shooting around him, like I said, I don't think it has anything to do with the coaching. I think Frank Vogel, as we know from his days here, is an excellent coach, particularly defensively.
Right.
He's a level-headed guy. He keeps the team at high spirits, and I think the Lakers will eventually bounce back. I think they'll, but again, no shooting, no rings. I mean, just ask Philadelphia.
Absolutely.
That's why I think the Pacers are going to seal a top 5 seed over Philadelphia because, if the Pacers go 6-2 in the bubble or 7-1. I actually think the Pacers will end up in the 4 seed, not the 5, because the next game is against Miami. If we win that one, we jump them in the standings.
Yes, sir.
We are tied with Miami as of right now.
Absolutely, and we have a chance to play them twice in these last 3 games of the regular season, along with Houston once in the middle of those 2 games.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the next game as a whole against Miami on Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern time? What do you feel about the team entering that game? Do you still have those worries about Adebayo since we'll be missing Sabonis again. Is that still your main concern?
After tonight, I'm less concerned because the Pacers pretty much negated Anthony Davis tonight.
Right.
Again, I don't think it was. I think the Laker fans need to get off AD's back. I don't think it was his fault. I think the Pacers had an outstanding game plan for him that the Lakers just weren't ready for.
Right.
And they just did. And again, they did not have the spacing around him to punish those double teams.
Absolutely.
You can't. I mean, it's easy to say you can make the extra pass, but if there's no spacing, there's no shooting on the floor to create spacing. There's nothing you can do. They're just going to pack the paint inside and basically go zone. The difference between us matching up with the Lakers tonight and Miami is Miami does have the spacing. Jimmy Butler, as good as he is offensively, and he's a good player. He's got I don't know if Winslow's back yet, but if he's back, you got Winslow, you've got Iguodala, you've got, I think Miami going into the bubble. So before the bubble started, we're number 1 in the league in 3-point shooting percentage. Right. But like the Pacers, they were middle of the road in terms of volume.
100%.
So, which means they're making the right play. They're not chucking threes like the Rockets. So.
Right.
I think if I had to predict how the game would go, I think the Pacers will probably – the one thing they cannot do is get off to a slow start against Miami, specifically when it comes to turnovers.
Right.
Miami is just as dangerous as Indiana in transition as so if you turn the ball over against them, you get scored on. So the Pacers did a nice job of taking care of the basketball tonight. Would have liked to have seen the turnovers be under double figures. I believe it was in the 12 to 15 range tonight. If the Pacers take care of the basketball against Miami, I think their half-court offense and their defense will take over. I think if the Pacers can take care of the ball, they will win. However, and one interesting thing to keep in mind, I know all you fans out there are excited to see Jimmy Butler and TJ Warren go at it. I read a report recently that Jimmy Butler has not played in 3 games due to a foot injury. He is expected to play on Monday against us. All I can say, and this is no disrespect to Jimmy Butler as an on-ball defender, if his foot's not 100% healthy, TJ Warren's going to eat him alive. And it's simply because Jimmy Butler's best defense against TJ Warren is to keep him out of the paint.
Talk to him.
And if he's like a half step slow, TJ Warren's going to get to the rack all day long, and he's going to get the big boys like Adebayo and Myers Leonard into foul trouble.
Yes, sir. I cannot wait to see us go head to head with Miami. I think we'll probably split these games. I think they'll probably get the best of us, one of them. There's too much. I feel like the teams are too close in talent comparison. It feels like they're very neck and neck. And I feel like even if we played them in the playoffs, I think we could split the series even until a game 7, of course, and then someone would take it. But great talk about this Lakers game. Super excited to be a Pacers fan right now. And, yes, we are coming for Jimmy Butler. It is not the game for Jimmy to come back. He should probably wait if I was him. But, at his own risk, he can try to play with this kid, this Warren kid. But T.J. Warren is on a whole other level right now, as most of us know. And we will talk about that in our next video.
Outstanding.
Appreciate you, Coach Jay. Miami on Monday, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, cannot wait to see them play. Like I said, we're coming for Jimmy Butler, and T.J. Warren is coming with that middle finger blazing, as I've been saying. Pacer Nation, make sure you guys follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Pacer Station. A lot of fun, great stuff coming up. Held Anthony Davis to 8 points today. LeBron had 31, but we still came out with the dub behind TJ Warren's 39 points, Victor's 22, and Malcolm Brogdon's 24 points. So, great day to be a Pacers fan again. Like I said, cannot wait to talk to y'all some more. Pacer Nation, we are deuces.